recording button right now. Real quickly, Steve's going to introduce himself also, but with me on the phone is Steve Gorison. He's an MBA and a chamber member of Northeast Florida. He's lived in Northeast Florida for about 30 years now with his wife and 4 kids. He also owns and operates Action Coach in Northeast Florida since 2004. He has 31 years of experience, wow, Steve, working with small and medium business owners to achieve their potential. And he was the 2012 Action Coach of the Year in the Americas, and he's on the Action Coach President's Club. Steve, I'm going to hand it over to you, and in the background I'll start answering some questions.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. I'm looking forward to our little session here today. And I guess the first question is, why do I call it Billionaire in Training? And it's because one thing is the hold on a second, my thing is not working. Yeah, there we go. Because these days making $1 million just isn't rich enough. You have to really think big, and that's really what the whole concept of what we're trying to do here today is get people with entrepreneurial spirits to be able to start thinking big. And I really appreciate everybody taking their time to come out here today to be on the call today. You know, a wise man once taught me, he said, you can lose all your money, but you always have the opportunity to make it back. But once you've lost your time, spent your time, that's gone forever. So I really appreciate everybody investing their time and coming in here today to sort of learn what the secrets of being an entrepreneur. And I want to talk a little bit, just introduce a little bit, Brian spoke a little bit more about me, but I want to talk a little bit about our company, because it's the company's concept, Action Coach, that we're going to be talking about, that I'm going to be teaching you here today. Is Action Coach. We're actually the world's #1 coaching firm. We have over 1,000 coaches in 26 different countries worldwide. We're coaching over 15,000 different businesses across the whole world. And and the thing that's really most important I want to pull out of this is that we're privately owned and founded by Brad Sugars, who's an entrepreneur himself with over $150 million in net worth. And it's his concepts, it's the things that he used to help him become a multimillionaire. And he actually got his first million when he was 23 years old. And it's these concepts that he's been able to use and improvise that we're going to be talking a little bit today. And really is at Action Coach, our vision here is to create world abundance through business re-education, because today is all about learning. And we say that if you want to earn more, you have to use the L factor. That L factor is you got to put learning before earning. That L before earn is you got to learn before you earn. So with that, let's sort of take a little step here and talk about the entrepreneurial ladder, because it's really a step-by-step process to get there. And we're seeming to have some technical difficulties. It sounds cutting in and out. Let's see if that's still a problem. Please let us know. But there's so many different ways of making it here in business. So many different ways through which you can reap the rewards of entrepreneurial success. Yet very few people ever learn what it takes, and for some reason, even fewer people are going to ever use what they've actually learned. So we got to really congratulate everybody that's here on our this webinar today for taking that first step towards the success that you could in the world of entrepreneurial business, because they have to learn. You got to figure out what you need to do to get there first. And the first step is really to invest in knowledge. The second is we have to absorb that knowledge. And the third and most important step is really to sit down and take action. That's why our company is called Action Coach. So as we're going to see here today, there's 6 or 7 rungs to the entrepreneurial ladder that'll help us get to the top that we're going to go through today. And at Action Coach, our definition of a successful business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Because anything else has to be classified as something other than really a true business. Because as long as with most things in life, there are many different levels of being in business, and that's sort of what we're going to sort of talk about. But now the thing that I've done is being mentored by Brad Sugars is I believe that business is really a game. And if you want to play the game, you got to learn the rules, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Is what are the rules of the games of business? And what's even more important, it's that it's better that you learn from really someone who has succeeded in the game. I mean, where I'm in my business, I've really helped small local businesses here in the Jacksonville areas move from employee, self-employed manager to that owner level. You know, if you're all the way on that owner level and you're getting into that investor entrepreneurial level, that now you're in time that you need to hire Brad Sugars and pay him $1,000 an hour to be able to help you get into that level. But you still need to know what you need to do to be able to get there. You know, but the things that is most important, you need to be taught by someone who's really successful, that has done it before, not necessarily scorekeepers, the accountants, the rule makers, the lawyers and whatnot, but people that really know how to put this into action. So we're going to start right now with the first level. First level is that of the employee. You know, almost everybody starts here. The employee, it's neither good or bad, but even though you're probably get the idea, it's not most recommended strategy to really create wealth. You see, being an employee trains you almost to be the exact opposite of an employee. And we see that most people here are employees, and some of you also want to start to own a business. And so what we're going to, so you really have to understand what you're supposed to do with this employee level. Because most of us is, we go to school, we get a good, you know, we be good, and it says go get a good, and we get a good job. And we play what Brad likes to call is the employee game. You work hard, long hours, achieve some specialization, and so you can get paid for being the only one that does that. So it's larger paychecks going to then equal your greater borrowing capacity. So what do we end? We end up in bigger debt, just getting in more stuff, and we sort of get stuck into the cycle that we can't break out of. So there's really two different ways to be thinking as an employee. There's sort of that limiting belief of employee that keeps us sort of stuck, or there's empowering beliefs. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the two. So first, limiting belief for an employee is, you know, first, the most important thing is owning more stuff. Owning more stuff is really more important than people in wealth, because I just have to, we sit there, we own all the stuff, we get into debt, and we just sort of get trapped in there. But the powering belief is you have to change your priorities. It's first on, you know, developing relationships with people, then focusing on money and wealth, and then thirdly, focus on buying stuff. Because you can always get that stuff later. You need to sit down and focus on, how do I create my wealth first? So the next thing is, the limiting belief is that higher income equals more wealth. No, income and wealth are two different things. So we need to think about it in a different way. In a different way is, you know, what you do with your income determines your wealth. It's not the income that equals wealth. The next one on limiting belief is that our intelligence, skills, experience creates our wealth. No, that just gives us some knowledge. Again, it sort of goes back to what we do with it. But it's really that courage, action, leadership that are really more important than really creating wealth than, you know, our book knowledge. You know, it's what we do that really counts, and most importantly. So the next thing we're going to talk about is that limiting belief is that a steady paycheck equals security, and it doesn't always necessarily go that way. So, and what we want to be thinking about is making decisions on vision and trust, not fear of what can go wrong. Because I always look as a great acronym for fear is false expectations appearing real. We start putting all these things in our head that are sort of why we can't do things, instead of focusing on that vision and the things that we want to be able to drive our success. Hopefully that makes success to everybody. All right, so next thing we're going to look at on the employees is employees' relationship with money. See, at each of the 5 levels, we're going to examine a relationship with money. I like to think of money as having a personality. You know, it's a way of being, and our relationship with it, determines its relationship with us. You know, so let's think about it. How does employees, what's their relationship with money? It comes out, it's very simple, is employees earn that. What does that mean? Is that, you know, it requires both of our time and physical exertion to make it happen. We run out of time, we run out of the ability to earn more money. It's as simple as that. So the world then is really defined by what we do, and the inherent need to earn as much as we can. We have to work more. We got to work harder. So the harder we work, the more we do. But you can only do so much. If everybody wants to have more things, we actually have to focus on how do we become more, not do more. Because if we can only do so much. And then really it's the focus on improvement of quality, attentiveness, that specialization to maximize our earning potential. So the better we become at one specific thing, that allows us to increase the amount of money that we earn. But one thing that's an entrepreneur, that you're going to sit there, an entrepreneur is not necessarily a specialist, but he has the ability to know about a lot of different things and then hires specialists to do those things for them. Hope that makes sense. All right, so we've been battling up, and the whole thing here is, with the employees is you do all this stuff so you can buy more stuff. But I've been beating up on the employee a lot, giving you guys a hard time. But there's really some good reasons to be, and good arguments for being an employee at a certain period of your life. And really the number one reason here is for you to build capital. Don't spend all your income on buying stuff. You need to really sit down and be able to figure out how can I increase capital so I can now invest that into building a business. Second thing we really need to work at is it's all about gaining practical knowledge. When you're an employee, someone is paying you to learn how to do business. So you need to gain that experience, pay a close attention to your boss, learn for the things that they do good, but I've learned mostly from my bosses are what are the things not to do in running a business. Look for good mentors with the company to be able to train you. Act as if you're one of the leaders in the organization, because then you'll start learning how to become leadership skills. And most importantly is just ask lots of questions. It gives you that ability to really just be, like I say, is just sort of be curious like a 2-year-old. That's the thing that we want to be able to focus on. So now, all right, so this gives us the zero level of being an employee. So how do we move up from the employee? So focus on, we have to develop a plan. What do we want to do? What type of business we want to create? What are the things that we need to learn? We start working on building up our capital so we could have a down payment to buy a franchise or to buy a business, however you want to do it. But the one thing that most of us do is we get into, maybe it's going to take having a husband or a wife with a salary for most of us to sort of jump into business, or maybe we wait until you're in your 40s or 50 when we've built up a nice level of wealth and, the kids have left home, sort of when I started my business here with Action Coach. But what I've really learned is my recommendations is to everybody get into the game of business as soon as you can. Because courage means having fear and doubt, but taking action anyways. That's really the most important, thing. So because, if you're one of the top 1% of the top 1% of the employees, you can get wealthy by being an employee. But just remember 2 facts. Is when you're faced with the decision to whether to get into business or not, the majority of millionaires are business owners. And if not now, when? When are you going to take that leap? All right, so we've now moved up from the employee, and we're now going to be looking at the first level in our entrepreneurial ladder, which is the self-employed. All right, so this is really that first step up the entrepreneurial ladder, and for most, it's really the only jump that we do. It's in fact, most entrepreneurs never seem to get past this level in the growth of their business. And the truth is that you really can't call it a business. You really have to call it a job. What does job stand for? Is just over broke. It's like, hey, I'm the boss. I got to do things, my way. This is the way to be able to do it. But what's most important is probably one of the worst jobs that you probably have. And you think about it is once you've become, you sort of wake up in the morning, you sort of have this entrepreneurial seizure. You started your business because you hated your boss and say, hey, I could do it better than they can. And so what do we really need to do is I'm going to go out, I'm going to hang my shingle, I'm going to start this job. But one day, because you hate your boss, and one day you look in the mirror and you realize you still hate your boss, but you have to look at this person in the mirror every week. But the thing that is, it's probably the biggest step. Oops, sorry, is the first step that you're going to ever take. But it's really the most rewarding stuff, and that's where we have to. This is really where the excitement begins, and where you have the ability to take it to the next level. So now. Why do we want to be self-employed? Some of the benefits is you really get to be now in control of your own life and your own destiny. Today I had a coaching session with a client that was in this level. He was self-employed and he wanted to create a business. And really, it's like one of the things. It's like what was the difference between what you were doing now and what were you doing before? And he says it's simple. It was I made a choice. I understood I now understand what the consequences of my choices were, and I think I've made a better choice. That's really the most important thing that we need to look at. So and as self-employed, it's important not to focus on making what the company sells, but selling what the company makes. Because if you're always in there doing the business, doing the service, making the product, whatever it is, you are trapped to being able to do that forever. So if you want to be able to go in and eventually sell your business one day, that was the last seminar that I did for the chamber, was avoiding the owner's trap. Is you get trapped by you're the only one who does it yourself. If someone needs to have some customer service, it's only the owner that they call, and some people pride themselves on that. But if that happens, you're the only one that can answer that question. You're stuck by always having to answer those phone calls. So you really have to create a vision of others doing. That means the business works without you. Even at the self-employed, you have to do everything. But the whole idea is if you have that vision of this is what we're trying to create, you now have the ability to really understand what you want to do with it. So you really have to see this as a true business and not another job for yourself. Hopefully that makes sense for anybody. All right, so now let's go to the next step. So what's our self-employed's relationship with money? We talked about the employee, but now let's take a look at really where it's here. So almost an extension of the mindset challenges that we had just looked at. Most level 1 self-employed people's relationship with money, we really have to sit down and examine it, because as you may know or you may not know, it's the way we relate to money will determine what our financial future is. And given you only got this really one shot at this thing called life, let's make sure that we're going to give it our best shot. So when it comes down to it, a self-employed person's relationship with money is now we're making money. The difference is that it still requires both the time and the physical exertion to make it happen. It still counts on you, just like when you were an employee. But the difference is, and also too, is that the world is still defined by what you do. It's you do, you make, and boom. When you can't do anymore, you don't make anymore. It's as simple as that. And really, there's an inherent need to make as much as you can. Because why? Because you're both the employer and the employee. But the secret to think about it, that Brad Sugars once says a poor man spends his time to save money. A rich man spends his money to save time. Because it goes back to what I said, started the webinar with this. Time is our most precious asset. It's how we deal with our time. That's really the most important thing. So let's take a look at now what are reasons to be self-employed. So there's lots of things that are going on. There's really 8 powerful reasons to be self-employed that I've listed here. Reasons that are simply put are just really a must if you're all really serious about getting yourself into the ranks of the rich. It's no doubt about it. You can remember when we talked about back at the level 0 employee had absolutely no true leverage. They simply were just trading time for dollars, right? But when you're selling for yourself, there's really no hourly rate. through your skill, your level of work, your passion or determination, are able to determine your level of income. No one else can make that decision for you, for that self-employed person. In fact, the level of self-control, promised by I did it my way feeling is really the central decision about what people wanted, why they became self-employed in the first place. But but the things you need to do is you need to learn about what company structure, learn about accounting. Accounting is the language of business. You need to sit down and you need to learn about sales and marketing. You need to be, all this really means at this level, it's hard work. You have to learn about cost containment, reductions, making contacts, networking. It's all about responsibility again and again, and how to be able to utilize technology. But the thing that you really want to focus on, it's all about this extra work that you're doing. You have to think about it as it's an entrepreneurial apprenticeship. We're studying that you have to do some of this stuff late at night after hours. That's why self-employed people put a lot of hours in, but you need to do it as from a learning point of view, because you need to learn what you need to do at each level to get to that next level. But also, one of the greatest reasons for being self-employed is we make more money, we pay less taxes. There's a lot of different tax benefits as we talk about just for being employed over just being an employee. So now, how do we move up from being self-employed? The first step here is most people don't get past this level. What we find is the first step is getting up this ladder is your vision, is what do you really see. As long as you see yourself as running a one-person business, that's all you'll ever be. Changing your identity really is changing your way of thinking to become a builder of businesses and really creating an empire. That's really what you want to do. It's this webinar, if anything, is about your mindset. It's getting you to think about differently about what it means to be a business and to be a business owner and to be business creators. And that's what we really don't learn this stuff in school. So that's why it's really important to understand what these basic concepts are. We need to think big, which means really changing the identity. We're not running a small business, but a growth business. Don't think of yourself as, oh, I just have a small business. No, I am in a growth business. I'm going to keep growing this business. Goals, that seem to maybe at initially at the time was the stretch goals, but they reduce your self-limitations. They help you serve to really help you work harder for those, to reach some of those stretch goals. You need to take a look at what does your organization look like when your business is finished. Focus on the jobs and the people. What are the, create positional charts, position descriptions for all the jobs in each of the business. And if you're self-employed, you do all those jobs, but you need to systematize each of those positions so you know what to do. Here's really a couple of tips on hiring that we teach our clients at Action Coaches. We have what we call as a 4-hour hiring process, and to sum it up is we hire people on passion and spirit, and then on body and mind. That mindset, skill set second. Bring on people that you could afford when you could afford half of their wage, because they'll make up enough for at least for the second half. And then this is how you can be able to then start working on your business, because you're not working in the business. Level 1 is all about begins your education, your ability to get yourself a higher income. Remember, income is not wealth, and wealth is not rich. So let's talk about the next step of getting rich. So now we're at the second level, and that's the manager level. So the what we're talking about, here you've made this leap. Congratulations. Pretty cool. We're there. But the whole thing we need to sit down and we need to take a look at is, it's really your new growth now brings on different challenges. This is the level where managers most decide that they're just going to fire everybody. I want to go back to doing everything myself, because if I can't train my people to do everything right, if I want to get it done, I got to do it myself. We need to get rid of that attitude. And what we're going to do is we're going to help you say that anguish. You see, the first business that you grow is really the most difficult, because you have to learn as you grow. Cash flow management is really one of the biggest challenges that brings growth or that prevents growth. Not mentioning team building systems, leadership, and everything like that. But one of the biggest traps of reaching this level to manager level is staying there. Is arriving at the thought of, oh, hey, I've made it. I've got a business. Too many business owners are start making some good money. They get sick of working and they start walking away before the business is finished, before it can run without them. Because if they leave too soon, they're leaving a lot of money on the table when they're trying to sell it. Or worse comes is they can't sell it because they've sucked all the money out of it. That's really the fastest way to kill your business and your cash flow machine that we want to do. So really what it comes down to it is owners really get stuck at this management. They're prone to really a set of beliefs about business. One assumption is bigger is better, is growing bigger than when the business really demands you being there all day. That's lunacy. How can I get bigger when I can only do as much as I can right now? So more people equal greater revenue. Do not equal success. It equals really stress is what it is. So probably is the biggest ego trip for all level 2 managers is being the boss, feeling superhuman, love the power of control. That last belief is that, you just can't find good people. Those are the limiting beliefs that we're talking about. One of the limiting beliefs here is that, more employees equals more success. That's not really true. Or more revenue is more successful. It's really what it comes down to is more profits equal more success. And that's what we have to focus on as business owners. And the most important thing is you really have to hire smart people. When one of my clients says, yeah, I hire them, I train them, and then they leave. So what you're stuck with is just untrained people working for you. And so how do you grow with that? You have to really make your employees want to then work with you. All right, so now we move on the second level here, the manager. We have to talk about, again, what that manager's relationship with money is. First and foremost belief that has stayed with them is, from their days as employees, you still believe that you have to work hard to make a living. It does not say anything about working smart to get rich. We all were brought up to believe, hard work equals big rewards. That's the thing that we always think. The problem is no one ever defined what type of work you should be doing the hardest. That's the thing that we have to take a look at. At the second level, this manager is still making. And by definition, what this making means is, we construct, produce, or combining parts or putting things together. By definition, then, that there are clearly defined, once again, by our role. A manager is someone who controls a business. A manager is there to manage the resource, and a leader is there to lead people. So a manager manages things, a leader leads people. Most level 2 managers try to control their staff instead of leading their staff. A manager really draws a wage from their business and never really a profit or any real worth. So, this is the compounded by the last 2 major level of our relationships with money at this level. Most business owners believe that company's money is my money. Unfortunately, for most level 2s, they're still finding it hard to distinguish between their own money and the company's money. They seldom refer to the money as profit they receive. So this level 2 manager are almost as same as the level 1. Only now they have a few more headaches because now they have to manage a team on top of it. So the one thing that remains the same is they still have to go to work if they want to make money. That's the difference. So that's where the manager and the self-employed are very, very similar to be there. So, but we need to go through this step to be able to do it, because the world's still defined by what we do. And it's that inherent need to make as much as we can that's going to help us get rich, and we have to get rid of that thought. So again, why do we need to be a manager? Why do we have to go through this step? Here it's really is what you should be learning and value by being a manager. There's still more to learn. Probably the biggest mind stretch is learning to juggle at this point. You need to have at least a dozen thoughts running through your head. At any one point in time, at any stage of your business, the level of your personal income should grow substantially at each of these different levels. If it doesn't, something is wrong. Something is really massively wrong. You're not doing the right things or doing the right things in the right order. So working harder and getting nowhere, you seem to be going around and around in circles. You're spending 80% time on day-to-day matters, maybe putting out fires, put your fireman hat on, and 20% of your time developing systems that will run your company. On top of that, then you have to deal with customers. One of my clients once said jokingly, if I could just get rid of my customers, I'd be a lot happier, right? I wouldn't have to deal with all the problems that come with that. So level 2 manager becomes good at putting out those fires. They often wonder if they're working for their employees, so really it's the toughest decision is really about creating and building the teams. And what we have to really realize is what team stands for is together everyone achieves more. We have to, as a manager, we have to focus on the systems that run a business and then hiring the right people to run the systems. So when we're self-employed, if we start working on those systems and we start hiring people, we start hiring the right people to replace us so we can delegate where we're spending most of our time. Okay, so better decisions come from better educated questions. We have more responsibility now to be a manager. We're more accountable, and this is where we start to be able to make more money within the business. So how do we move up from the manager to the next step is owner? So how do we break the cycle? Do you want to what do you need to do to progress up this ladder to level 3? Most people, get stuck at this level because they don't learn anything that they should have at level 1 or level 2. They should have been learning everything they can about systems, team building, leadership, HR, recruitment. Instead, they're running circles after their people. They're just putting out fires every single day. They're learning how to be a fireman, not a business owner. So if you want to avoid these pitfalls, you need to desperately need good systems for your business. They allow the business to really function on a smooth basis. Sharing out the workload according to the skills, the talents of the team that you have. It's going to allow you to get on with the tasks of being a manager. Once you have a system, you're going to be able to concentrate on focusing more on leadership. And then because you can't grow a good business without good people. And if you're not a good leader, you're not going to attract good people. And thus, for the moment, a good leader, once you're a good leader, you're not going to start getting good people. So, and then every sizable organization requires a leader. Just as your business grows, you will need specialists. You're going to have to hire financial managers, manufacturing managers, marketing managers, sales managers, sales team, administrative managers. But once this happens, you need to think about then appointing a general manager, somebody to help run and manage all of that. Because when you do that, that allows you to move and step up from level 2 to level 3. All right. So what are we doing here at level 3, being that business owner, that leader? So the movement here from level 2 to 3 requires really another mindset change, especially when it comes to money. This is where you move out of having a job. Instead of making money by taking a wage, you start making money by getting a profit. Very few people really reach this level 3, and those that do, most of the time I find they're doing it by accident. And they tend to get stuck at this level of running their business, probably because they never get over that feeling of being wanted, that they have to be there. Because if they feel that they have to be there, they can't get that business to start running by themselves. So you have to really learn to let go. And it's usually at this level the owner, the leader, stops forging ahead. Why? Because you sort of you're in a comfort zone. This is very dangerous because if the business is not growing, the business is dying. You need to really sit down and move forward, because as a business owner, you're now going to have more time on your hands, more than ever, and you have to know how to use it. You probably, are spending a lot of money, you're investing in maybe new technology, or you upgrade your office, you're buying more furniture, etc. You're experiencing a massive mind shift when you first move to this level. And they operate on a totally different level to the manager, because now you're receiving passive income from the business. You reach a position where it doesn't matter if you get out of bed in the morning. You're sort of semi-retired. You know, the business can go on without you being there. You can go and take a vacation and be gone for 3 months and to come back and the business is still running as good or better than when you left. You know, you have to operate really now more on a strategic level. You know, concentrate on really on the big picture. Focus is no longer on cash flow, but now it's all about, your focus is all about how do I create profit? How do I increase profitability from the business? And that's one of the things that I'm always teaching my clients from the beginning, from whether they're on the first level or second level, is how do we focus on increasing cash flow and profitability in the business. So now let's move on to what is the owner's relationship with money. We're going to see another little bit of a mind shift here. So you've moved up and you're sort of semi-retired. You know, as a result, you no longer trade time for money. You work smarter on your business and you're getting richer. This means there's no longer a function of the amount of effort you put in or the amount of time you spend working. Your income is now rather the function of the level of the profit of the business. So it's a whole different way of looking at how you make money. You know, so let's look at the word owner. You know, a person who owns something, as somebody that that possess or to have property. And let's look at what is a leader. Is a person who leads. A leader is a very different person, you know, from the levels below. Owners do not make or earn money. They receive money. It's a different way that we need to look at this. So what do we learn? What are the reasons of being an owner? Where do we go from here? So the most really compelling the reason to be an owner is the passive income stream. You know, it provides, you know, this is where you get the better lifestyle. This is really where the fun begins. It's where you start, you're more relaxed from the daily pressures of managing the business. You concentrate more on your health. You spend a lot of quality time with your family. You have time to start learning all over again. Maybe you're reading a little bit more. You're going to more seminars, workshops. You're trying to learn different things, and not now on how to be an owner, but how did you get to that next investor level? You know, you start working again at a more strategic level. You're probably the first time you really beginning to really learn how to invest, because you now have this passive income that's coming into the business. You have to learn to invest, and this is the beginning. This is where you start to build more businesses. You've already learned how to create one business, so how do we do that and apply that again? Hopefully that makes sense for everybody here. And, you know, it's time to start looking at doing things differently, because why you have the freedom at this stage, because the business is running without you. All you have to do is make sure that the general manager is doing their jobs of managing and running the company. All right, so now this is the career. This is the part where even for me this is new territory. How do we move up from being the owner into what Brad really calls is the investor? You know, so what does it mean to move up to this first thing? So the first thing you need to be doing at this level 3 is really building capital, accumulating capital to invest in other businesses. This is vital if you want to become really rich. You know, you've now begun setting yourself maybe new business or personal goals. You know, you've seen something potential for duplicating, you know, what you've done, you know, in your first business. You know all the steps of creating one business. You can now realize how easy it is to do it again. You know, if it's worked once for you, you know, do you think it'll work again? Of course. That's what the whole thing of learning through each of these stages is all about. So, but this level 4 is all about investing. If you're to succeed at this level, you need to learn as much about investing, you know, making money with money to create wealth. You know, use money, what's the point I'm trying to say? Is you use money to make money with time, but now you make it with other people's money, other people's time. You know, the name of the game is to find a company that is not performing near its true capacity, buy it at a rock bottom price, and then build it up quickly using all the skills and knowledge that you had by creating your first business, and put the systems that you've learned and everything that you developed, and then sell it for a premium price. It's flipping businesses. Brad created his business by learning how to create one business, buy it at it, and then build it up and sell it. You know, finding these opportunities is where your new challenge is. and it will be something that you relish. This is what when you're on the moving up from the owner to the investor level, this is your challenge. This is the thing that's going to drive you. You might come across this through business dealings or your social network. You just might find them by just being more observant, because now you're looking for these types of deals. And then you need to find the good people who's really going to help you to build these companies. And it's like the higher that you climb up this ladder, really, the more fun it gets. You won't going to be working harder. You're just going to be playing for bigger stakes, and that's where that's really what it's all about. All right, so now we finally we're getting to the end. It's now we're going up from the owner to the investor level. It's a whole different mindset. You see, the investor takes a different view of business and their business goals. Their basic catchphrase is "Let's grow," right? Let's grow. They have a different way of thinking about when to compare those on the previous levels. They're thinking about, according to the concept is the rule of zeros. What does that mean? What's the rules of zeros? What that is it's what is your level of zeros in your life? How many are you comfortable with? What is your day-to-day number of zeros? Are you looking at $100 an hour, $1,000 an hour? Are you looking at trying to make $100,000 or $1 million or $1 billion? It really, all it is just a factor of how many zeros are at the end of the numbers. So to move up the scale to 3-0 range, in a job, you're going to probably have to be in sales, management, or some profession. To add another 0 to that, you need to sort of be in business. People get into property rich because they're playing with more zeros. Investors makes more money by building and selling businesses. So what's our mindset now? Is at this level we want to keep things simple. The immediate goal is the creation of wealth through buying and selling businesses. That's all. Use your profits, or at least some of your profits, to buy investment property or stocks. But you're looking to leverage as much as you can in business dealing at this level. What most people want is to buy businesses that are successful. The goal is to get a good deal. You'd never pay full asking price. Always pay wholesale when you're looking to buy business. You need to be really aware of getting bogged down in the thick of things. Continue to really to buy, build, and sell businesses. And you'll realize now that you need to have a president, somebody that's going to sort of start to manage all the different businesses that you're acquiring. And the whole point here is, sometimes you get to the business owner, you've duplicated everything, you've created systems, and there are a lot of people where they sort of create wealth is by creating a franchise, is now duplicating what you've done and selling those systems to everyone else out there. That's when things really get fun. So let's take a look at now, what's the investor's relationship with money? We need to learn how to invest money we make from our passive income stream. Investors' word for money is what? Is return on investment. The investor only thinks about return on investment. It's all about his capital and the return, what level of return are we getting for what we're investing on. Probably the problems that most people face is that they're really too busy making enough money to simply just exist, that they don't have enough time to find the really good deals. Most of the problem with that we have, the challenge in being self-employed in that manager level, is we're just making enough money to pay our bills. So we're not thinking about how do we create a profit, how do we make more. We're just satisfied as, oh, I could pay all my bills and I could pay my business's bills and I get by. But no, that's not what we want. That's not a rich mindset. This is because it's all been integrated into our thinking that we have to be specialists. And we miss then all the different opportunities that come our way. So the next thing that we need to think about is at level 4, we no longer need to put in the time that you achieve your goals. You only need to use your knowledge and your money. You need to leverage really to your advantage. An investor is a person who invests money. The return on investment is really to give you a profit. There's no work or really action applied here. The key here is not work, but it's really its profit. So let's forget about all the work, because the investor is not really doing the work. Someone else is. The investor is doing the strategizing. You're doing all the thinking. It's your team that you put in place is now doing all the work. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to us out here? So why do we need to be the investor? So why do we need to be that investor to really take us up to that next ultimate level of being really that entrepreneur? So, the whole aim of the game at this level is to buy back your time so you could really start playing the game of creating real wealth. You'll be operating at a different world here. This is, to do so successfully, you're going to need to change really a few things. And how you think really has to change. Think about, and your thinking really is going to really determine your reality. You have to think big before you could really achieve bigger results. If you're always thinking small, that's where you're going to be playing. Forget about returning like that, trying to get a 15% return on your investment. Look for 200% return on your investment. Think of yourself as really the very best in your business. Teach yourself that every day that you're rich. Begin and behave like you're rich. Behave like a rich person does. And tell yourself that you're the money magnet. And yet you come across many interesting business investment propositions come your way that maybe you not noticed, but now you're noticing all those things. At the investor level, you have to learn and master this in order to be in business. Understand and apply what you've learned. You have to invest in business. How to buy companies and real estate, stock. It's the central theme of operating at this level is to buy business wholesale and channel the profits, from them into selling real estate stocks, that will continue to grow. Think about it as buy, add a value, low cost, build it up, sell it, or buy, renovate, and sell. Whether if you're in the housing, if you're flipping houses, it doesn't make a difference. But building a reputation is really important at this level. You're going to need to get good, reliable networks to act as intelligence or information gathering tools. Learn about corporate structure, learn about taxation, learn about being a director. This is a whole new set of knowledge that we need to be focusing on when we're getting onto this higher level of being an entrepreneur. On our journey to our riches and creating our wealth, you stock and trade. From here, it's all about buying, building, and selling businesses. Sometimes your intention might not be to build a business you've acquired. You might want to renovate it and then realize the profits quickly. You might be required to finance a more important project, so you want to flip it to get cash fast. Deals like this don't warrant spending too much on them. Deals in this category are really quick deals. Treat them as part of your stock and trade, the things that you're trying to focus on in the business. But the most important thing here is realize it's okay to make mistakes. This is how we learn. It's okay. This is all about having fun. This is where the fun really begins, because your return on your investment, you're making so much that if you make a mistake, it's just a learning experience. One of my professors in school, the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that you're right one more time than you're not. And as long as you're working on being right more times than not, you're going to become successful. All right, so this is the tricky part. How do we move up from that investor level? So we made that decision to give it a go and to move up this last rung of the ladder. Not everybody chooses to really be there. To see if you have really what it takes to operate as a true entrepreneur. You have to have a good understanding of corporate structure, how to set up the structure that can accommodate various businesses in such a way that it really works to your advantage from a tax advantage. You may want to consider a holding company to hold shares of subsidiary companies, or needless to say, there's, like I said, tax ramifications to the way that we set up this corporate structure that needs to be considered very carefully. Next thing is the learning curve. You're on a steep learning curve right now. Don't let that scare you off. If you stop learning, you're going to die. And to learn, you really got to teach. So in teaching is really one of the best methods of learning, because it forces you to really think about what you're trying to teach. That's why I like teaching this program, because I'm just getting into being on that owner investor level and want to be that. And the more I could talk about it, the more I could teach it, the more it becomes a reality to me. So we need to really consider exactly what we're doing and what we're trying to get across. How we could do it. Whether there's easier ways. This is a marvelous way to re-examine learning and teaching. Is our current understandings, our beliefs of business systems, methodology, concepts, and this could really lead to whole new other things. So teaching is not only the best way of ensuring long-term survival of your team, it's also really it's a great team building exercise. So to grow, you must sell. I'm going to repeat that. You have to do enough deals to really be considered a master. People will want to invest with you. They're going to find yourself dealing with people's money, and they're going to be leading you to that last level, that of the entrepreneur. Again, to grow, you must sell. It's a fundamental rule that you're going to be observing now. As you grow, you start behaving more and more like that entrepreneur. So we finally made it. Here, we're at the entrepreneur level. So what do we do here? So this last level is the one that really is the potentially most exciting. This is the one where the real true capitalist operates. It's at this level that you make money by raising capital. You're using other people's money to build paper assets like stocks, franchises, licenses, royalties, and whatnot. Sort of think of it this way. A true entrepreneur uses other people's money to make money. The reason you run seminars, you write books, on how to succeed in business is to build that reputation so you can now take your company public. You have a whole number of investors jump on board. This is part of your business strategy. That's what we're trying to look at. Think about it this way. Think about Bill Gates. He's one of the world's richest men, right? What does he sell? Does he sell computer software? Does he sell information? Does he sell solutions or systems? What Bill Gates sells is shares of Microsoft. What he sells to create his own personal wealth is his shares in Microsoft. True entrepreneurs build businesses that they can take public. This allows them to gain immediately or overnight a massive amount of wealth. Just I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, the guy from Facebook. Just think about how wealthy that he had become just when he took Facebook public about a year or so ago. So at this level, you are acting more now as a visionary. You will be a dreamer. You're a dreamer with a vision. It's often said that all the best deals start with a simple dream. But it's no good just dreaming. You got to take it, put it into action, and make your dreams come true. So you have to sell the dream, then work like heck to make that a reality. Always keep your mind focusing on what is real, but what's not necessarily real right now, but soon will be. You trust yourself and your team will turn that vision into a reality. That's really what things are all about. It's the entrepreneurial mindset. That you've gained knowledge along the way. You need to change the way we think. Changing the way you think is what we call it's a four-step process. It's called IVVM. So let's take a quick look. This is probably a lot of the stuff I talked about today is theory and stuff. I wanted to leave you with at least one tip of something that you could apply right now that can help change your mind and where you are. So what the IVVM stands for? First, it stands for idealization. Is to make a dream come true, you have to first have a dream. You have to dream bigger. The next step is about visualization. You must focus on that dream day and night and really think about it, make it a reality in your mind. Only then it can become reality. Verbalization. You need to say it. You need to say it over and over again. And then materialization is when you're really truly committed. This is amazing is when you see these realities come into fruition. So let's take a quick look at each one of these. Idealization is really stretch your mind with the possibility. Look at what you really choose. What's your ideal life? think about that and, choose what's already yours. You have to think about it in the future sense. It's just sit down, close your eyes, and just really think about what is it that you want. Because remember, what you want means that you assume you don't already have it. Therefore, you sort of push it away. It's like, yeah, I want that, but yeah, that's not me. So look for the ideal situation and see yourself in that ideal situation. The next step then is visualization. Is every day is first take the 10 minutes in the morning and then 10 minutes in the evening to sort of step back and relax and just picture your ideal as if it's already real. Think about it. You have to believe that it's yours. Remember that it's your subconscious can't really distinguish between what's real and what's not. And so the whole idea is through this visualization period is that we're planting seeds in our brain. As we start, then we have the ability to notice things that will help make this happen. One of the things that I notice is like when the first time I noticed this happening is when I first bought my first Acura. It was an Acura Integra, and I thought it was a cool car. It was when they first came out, and I didn't think anybody had it. And I went and I bought the car. I thought this was great. As soon as I bought it, what happened? I started seeing the Integras everywhere. Why? Because now it was my focus. That was what the thing that I was thinking on. So the same goes through. If you start thinking about and visualizing the things that you want, your mind is now going to be more perceptive to help you find those things. The next step is verbalization. Is what I like to put clients through as an exercise is create a list of 20 positive I am statements about yourself, about your life that you choose to be. I am rich. I am an entrepreneur. I am a successful leader. I am a leader of motivated employees that run my business for me. Boom. You say these things and choose the life that you want to do, and repeat these statements at least twice every day after or before you've done your visions, and then state it in the present tense as it's already happened, because your mind can't distinguish between what you want and what you have, and what reality is and what isn't. But when you say it, you got to say it with passion. You have to. And the more passion, the more energy you put into it, the greater it has. And then what happens is you're planting seeds, and then you'll be amazed at how these seeds that you're planting will now begin to manifest. And because more energy and emotion brings about goals faster. So, some of these things will happen because these are things you want, but what we're trying to do is how do we help them to manifest quickly in your life? So you have to remember is do your visualizations twice each day. When you wake up in the morning, maybe before you get out of bed, or while you're having your coffee, just sort of sit, relax, be able to do it, and then right before you go to bed every night. There's a variety of other different things that we also teach our clients to be able to do it. But if you focus on these things, this is really one of the things that will help you move from each step in it. And don't visualize and set I am statements that if you're now just an employee of the entrepreneur. Try to go to visualize what that next step is do it a step-by-step process, and then this way it'll help you to be able to get to that next level and being able to do the things you need to do at each of those levels. So finally, we're going to finish up with what's the entrepreneur's relationship with money. It's a little bit different. Entrepreneurs do not work for their money. They certainly do not trade time for money. They don't rely on their profits as a primary source of income. What they do is that they become interested on the return on investment of some deals are producing, but this is really incidental. They make money by raising capital. They create money by adding value. Focusing on share price. That's going to be considered the entrepreneur's stock of trade. That's what he trades on. That's what he's selling. The relationship with money is now through the stock market. You operate successfully at this level. You don't rely on your own money, and certainly you don't need your own money in order to do this, really well. An entrepreneur is a person who organizes and manages commercial undertaking. You're selling you sell wholesale and retail deals. You buy low, sell high. It's a cliche, but yeah, this is how you really become the entrepreneur. So how do we end up? So what are the reasons that we want to get there? Because in fact, that the richer you get, the less you pay for taxes, because tax systems favor those that are in business. We already know that. Why? Because the tax system wants us to reinvest that money and to take the risk to be able to create more jobs, right? So with the influence, the next thing is, and with influence brings advantages like information, both personal and business opportunity. There's a great personal satisfaction in achieving something, really worthwhile. We want to spend a lot of times, a lot of our effort building our reputation. That's where, you see a lot of entrepreneurs. That's where they're writing books, holding seminars. There are, big players with large amounts of money to invest. Serious investors. They're also targeting institutions, going public. Really, there's the greatest single thing that you could do to get people to invest in your company. And then finally is, entrepreneurs become involved in 2 or 3 of their favorite charities. Start your own children's organization, scientific research, educational facilities. These are a variety of things. One of the things that Brad Sugar says that is every year around Christmas time, he buys a truck full of bicycles, and him and his 2 daughters would just go and take the semi-truck and just hand them personally to kids to give it. He says that's the greatest feeling that he ever has, and it's like the biggest return that he has. So our final message here is we're going to end up is the metaphor of the ladder really wasn't by mistake. What we need to think about is to reach our goals, it's a step-by-step process. We have to take small steps ever skyward, but we have to go one step at a time. There's a certain order to be able to do. There's certain things that we need to learn to get to that next level, and if we don't master them, it slows us down at that level while we learn them there. So we need to start beginning our journey up that ladder with a plan. And some of those things start with that IVVM practices, that idealization, visualization, verbalization, materialization, twice a day. Do it in the morning, do it at night. Trust me, it really works. It gets you thinking like an entrepreneur. It gets you thinking like a businessman. And and just really ended up here with the last thing is there's just really more abundance to you. Hopefully, I went through a lot of this stuff really fast on some of these things, but I hope you really got the points of what I was trying to get across. Really on behalf of myself and all the coaches, action coaches worldwide, I really thank everybody for this opportunity. If you want to get in contact with me for further questions or anything like that, here's my my contact information. If anybody is a business owner and they really want to think about what it takes to work with a coach, I'll offer anybody a free coaching session. If you want, you can put your name and business name and phone number in the questions down below and follow up with you that way, or you could just contact me on your own, whatever you feel. But I really appreciate everybody investing their time here. Is now time to take action and build your dreams. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Steve, and thank you for attending this webinar today. The recordings will be posted later tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, and thank you again very much for attending. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, everybody.